Hey everyone, I am here today to talk about my Monday blog, and it is all about coffee. Oh, I love coffee. I have loved coffee ever since I was a little girl. And actually, I still use it today to fuel my workouts, to get me going, to give me some inspiration, and to boost my creativity. But I love coffee. And there is probably lots of things that you've read out there or have seen in regards to controversy of, is coffee a healthy additive to a healthy lifestyle? And my answer to you is, it depends. So I'm curious, how many of you absolutely love coffee? How many of you rely on it in order to get through your day, in order to make it through your energy slumps? I know I did at one point, and I found that it was actually more damaging than anything. As much as I love the taste, the smell, the feeling, the association of my cup of coffee, I also knew that it was not being used properly and I was not getting as much of a benefit out of it. So I know when I wake up in the morning, one of the first things that I think of is, all right, gotta go get my cup of coffee. And I don't know if it's necessarily because I'm addicted to it. I don't think that that's necessarily what it is, because when I had went through a cleanse, my cleanse, I was able to easily let it go. But I actually enjoy it as part of my morning routine, as part of what makes me start to feel good, the smell, the association, the taste of it on my palate. However, there are people who use it in the sense that they are totally addicted. Actually, caffeine is one of the number one things that we are addicted to as human beings. It is so addictive, but yet it's totally seen as normal to have coffee throughout the day or to have some sort of caffeine. So, how many of you use that caffeine or that coffee to help you get through your morning, your day, your energy slumps, or even just being able to tolerate the things that are going on around you? Are you raising your hand right now? Are you shaking your head and saying, yeah, that's me. Come on, Tansy. You know that I can't live without it. I get it. I can totally get it. I love it for the sense that it gives me that focus and it helps me to create proper sentences. It helps me be creative. It helps me to just produce that little bit of extra energy throughout my workouts. And if I'm using it for that, that's a great thing. But if you're using it just to sustain throughout your day, that might be a little bit of an issue and a health risk, actually. So coffee does afford benefits outside of anything that is attributable to caffeine. The benefits provided by coffee and not from caffeine are related to its actual antioxidants. So coffee's antioxidants can help your immune system out when it's fighting to keep you healthy. So there's lots of controversy out there. Some people and some researchers say that coffee is actually super detrimental to the body. Others say that the antioxidants are very helpful and that you should incorporate a little bit of it into your healthy daily regimen. Um, my belief and what I've seen is that the antioxidants are definitely very helpful. They help to heal the body in many ways, but there are also populations that should not have caffeine and should not have coffee. So if you have high blood pressure, if you have anxiety, if you have or if you have inflammatory diseases or some other kind of disease, cancer, or diagnosis that shows the inflammation that can be associated from coffee would actually be detrimental to your health, then you want to stay away from that. That's definitely some risk factors that you want to be aware of. That's what I'm going to talk about today. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about some of the risk factors that are associated with coffee and caffeine consumption. So regardless of the brand and regardless of how good it is, coffee is still acidic in the body. It's still going to create more acidity within the body when you consume it. So that's one thing to be aware of. If you're really following more of an anti-inflammatory diet, or if you're trying to keep your acidity low within your body, too much caffeine and too much coffee is actually going to be a negative thing. Now, some caffeines are much lower in acidity than others, but I'm specifically talking about coffee here because that's what this blog post is about. It's about coffee. So when you ingest that coffee, it creates more acidity within the body. And the only way that cancers, diseases, and other diagnoses can really exist and procreate within the body is in an acidic state. So the more alkaline we can get the body, the better. If you're drinking an entire pot of coffee throughout the day, that's a whole huge load of an acidity that's coming into the body at once. So you really want to be aware of that. The second thing to remember is that if you're adding a lot of sugar and or a lot of creamer into your coffee and you're having more sugar and creamer than you are actual coffee, that's going to be a big problem too, because the sugar from straight sugar and the sugar that's in your creamer is going to also have you spike and then crash. That's what sugar does. You get those sugar crashes. Well, caffeine does the same thing. Caffeine is going to spike and then it's going to crash. So you're going to actually have a double whammy if you're drinking a cup of coffee that has a huge amount of sugar and or creamer in it. My suggestion to you, especially when it comes to the sugar side, is trying to switch over to something like stevia. Stevia is natural. It's a natural extract of the stevia plant, and it does not produce that sugar crash. So it's going to help you stave off at least that part of the crash in your cup of coffee. So try adding a little bit of that in and see if that helps you. All right, the next thing that I'm going to talk about, and the biggest part of this blog today, is the 2 ways to decrease the negative effects of coffee on the body. Like I said, I'm a huge advocate of that coffee boost in order to enhance certain parts of your lifestyle, but there are 2 things that you can do to offset some of the risk factors and some of the negative things that I just talked about a few minutes ago. All right, let's talk about those 2 things that you can do to help decrease the negative effects of coffee. The first one, which I absolutely love since I've discovered it, is Peppermint Essential Oil. Now, I use a certain brand, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to use this brand, but this is a higher quality brand. So if you decide that you're going to use some Peppermint Essential Oil in your coffee, then you want to make sure that it's food grade, that the brand is more reputable, and that the brand itself on their website or on some kind of publication of theirs actually says that it is okay to ingest that oil. That's super important because not all essential oils are totally pure and not all are food grade and therapeutic grade. So you want to make sure that you're really choosing a high quality oil if you decide to do this tactic. So with peppermint oil is actually alkaline and it decreases the acidity in the coffee, that when you ingest that coffee, it's not quite as acidic as it once was. Peppermint oil is absolutely amazing though in so many other ways. It's good for digestion. It's awesome for IBS issues. It helps to decrease anxiety. It helps to decrease sore muscles, helps to heal and decrease the symptoms of colds, and it even helps with headaches. So if you start to get a little bit of a headache, maybe from a migraine that's coming on, maybe from stress at work, and you still want to have that cup of coffee, you can add a little bit of peppermint oil, and that's going to help to decrease some of those symptoms. How freaking cool is that? Absolutely love it. Here's my suggestion though, and this is really important for any kind of beginners using this. Use 1 drop. Just 1 drop, because this stuff is super powerful and you're going to really notice that it is going to be very overwhelming if you use more than that. I would say 1 drop of oil in about 12 to 16 ounces of coffee, maybe even less. You could probably go less than that, but it just kind of depends on what your tolerance is to that overwhelming peppermint taste. So that's my first tip for you, Peppermint Essential Oil. Number two, which is another one of my absolute favorites, is starting to add in ghee and or coconut oil. Now, if you are a vegan and you don't do ghee, that's cool. Just do the coconut oil. That's super helpful. You can do one and or the other. I found some great combinations. So there is a company called Kelipo, and they make these handy dandy little packets. These things are freaking awesome. You can take them wherever you want. It's one serving in a packet, and it makes life so much easier. And they also have a coconut oil as well. So what is the benefit of these babies? First and foremost, ghee and coconut oil help to stabilize blood sugar, and it gives your body those healthy fats that really help to heal the brain, to stabilize the body, the sugars, and the functioning of the body itself. Now, your caffeine crash will be far less, and the physical discomforts like headaches and anxieties and stomach aches and all of the stuff that goes along with coffee from that caffeine will actually be a little bit less. I've noticed personally that when I use one of these, that my headaches really aren't there that I typically get from my caffeine crash, and that my stomach is much easier able to digest everything that's going on. So what makes coconut oil in particular so powerful, and why is it so beneficial to put into your coffee? I'm going to explain that to you. So what makes coconut oil so darn powerful? I'm glad you asked. So first and foremost, coconut oil helps to increase energy, and it helps to increase mental focus. Now, coconut oil is a saturated fat, and saturated fats, just so you understand, they are not necessarily the demons that they used to be. Research has shown over the years that saturated fat necessarily isn't a demon, and it's not necessarily a health deterrent like we were believed that it was. That's neither here or there if you believe that or not. But what I want to tell you is about the saturated fats that are actually in this coconut oil. So fats in general are generally made up of long chains. The fats in coconut oil, however, are made up of medium chain triglycerides, MCTs. Here's what you need to know without going through all the science and all of the digestion that goes along with it. MCTs don't need bile to break down. That's the key thing. They're shorter than other fats, and they're transported directly to the bloodstream through your portal vein. What this means is that you actually get energy straight from those MCTs. You get energy straight from them, and they don't necessarily get directed right into your fat deposits. That means less love handles, less thunder thighs, and less rolls around your midsection, depending on where you put that body fat first. How freaking cool is that? So you're eating a fat, and it's not necessarily getting directly deposited right into those fat deposits. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can eat as much as you want. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in moderation. In addition to a quick energy boost, you'll also get some ketones out of the deal. What does that mean? That helps to improve nutrient absorption, and you'll provide your brain with much more needed fuel. So you're getting the benefit of the energy, you're getting the benefit of that mental focus, and of the brain health, and of extra nutrient consumption. That's freaking awesome. So, Kelipo, coconut oil, Kelipo coconut oil and ghee. You can do one or the other. But one of my suggestions is, if you have never done this before, and if you're totally new to adding this into your coffee, you want to make sure you work your way up to that. You want to start with just a little bit. Coconut oil is known to have a diuretic effect, and if your body isn't used to it, then it may be a really bad day for you. So tell me, did you like what you heard? Are you interested in learning more? Well, I would love for you to be on this journey with me. So head on over to my website at tansyrogers.com and sign up for my blog. You'll get it delivered directly to you every single week, and there is more info and more offers and more possibilities for some really cool stuff that only my subscribers get. Do you want to share a little bit of a shout out? You want to let me know how you love using coconut oil, ghee, peppermint oil? Then get on over to my social media pages, Facebook and Instagram, and share and let me know how it is that you are getting along with this, how you're using it, and just to say hi. I would love to have you right here on my journey and being part of my tribe and sharing the love. Thanks so much. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.